And there is a theology that faith in God will give you a ticket out of hardship. Faith in God will mean you will be healthy. Faith in God will mean you will be wealthy. Faith in God will mean things will go well for you. In fact, there's actually a passage, it's the most misinterpreted passage in Scripture that drives that theology. It's Romans 8:28. You know Romans 8:28? For we know that all things will work together for good for those who love God and are called according to His purpose. And so people say, cheer up, everything will work for good. That's God's promise. It's not what it means. You can't take that verse out of the Bible and put it on a plaque and have it mean anything whatsoever. Because if you read 29 and 30, well, I want to actually read this to you because I think it's worth doing, because it really gets at the misconception that is confronted in this passage. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. Now listen, for those whom He foreknew, He also predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son, in order that He might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those whom He predestined, He also called, and those whom He called, He also justified, and those whom He justified, He also glorified. Verses 29 and 30 unpack verse 28. What is the good? Your redemption. The good that nothing can stand in the way of, the good that you are guaranteed to get, the good that all things in your life are moving toward, is your redemption. In fact, here's what Paul is arguing, that the grace you are now placing your faith in is never risky. It's never at stake, because present grace is just a current expression of a plan settled before the foundation of the earth. Isn't that awesome? Present grace is just a current expression of a plan settled before the world was formed. That's what's being taught. God's not making it up along the way. And so it's absolutely not true that faith in God is an automatic ticket to a comfortable, predictable, pleasurable, healthy, wealthy life. In fact, I would say this. If you look at the history of humanity, if that's what God has promised, He's a massive failure. We should burn our Bibles and walk away. Now, here's what this confronts us with. God will do whatever He wants to do to get His glory. It's not about us. It's not about us. And so, if triumphant victory is what gives God glory, then He will use you as a tool of that. If horrible suffering is what gives God glory, then He will do that. He is in the center of the redemptive story. And ultimately, the thing that God is most committed to is the success of His own glory. And there's no safer place than to be willing to be part of that. Because whatever I'm going through in this moment will seem like a flash of a moment in the forever that is guaranteed me. And 10,000 years into eternity, we'll look back. And what was dramatic and horrible and hard will look like a little thing in comparison to the glory that's been showered down on us.